we're a newspaper. Might be able to do that. So I went down a couple of weeks later. He says, he called me up and says, we got something for you. He says, we contacted the Department of Defense, and they told us, yeah, every one of these came home.
Wow.
Imagine that.
They were all prisoners of war.
They were all prisoners of war, and they finally got repatriated.
Okay, well, you're going to be donating those pamphlets to the library. No, not right now. I'll get them afterwards. But
yeah,
I'll be sending those in.
Give you them today.
Yes, with your recording, I'll be sending those in. Those are going to become the part of the permanent record of the Library of Congress. Both those pamphlets, and you also have pamphlets you found on the trail in North Korea.
Well, they weren't in North.
Or they weren't North Korea, but when you were serving in Korea.
Korea, yeah.
Yes. That's right. I want to make sure we get enough time to get the picture of you with Winston Churchill, because your back is in the picture, but you're in the picture, and there's some familiar faces there, both Winston Churchill and Dwight Eisenhower. Can you tell us what the circumstance was that you got that picture?
This was in 1960 or 61, one of those days. And the reason I got the picture, I was in the picture, was John Foster Dulles, who was the Secretary of State, was dying. And he was in Walter Reed Army Medical Center to see what they could do for him. And there was a lot of VIPs would come over to visit him because they know he didn't have much time left. So the last time Winston Churchill came to this country, he wanted to go see John Foster Dulles because he had a lot to do with World War II and the invasions and all this other stuff, because he was Secretary of State at the time when World War II, part of Secretary. He came after George C. Marshall, who also died in Walter Reed. I seen him there, but I never got a picture with him.
So you were serving as an MP at Walter Reed Hospital?
Yeah. Yeah, and so they, when a VIP like that came, they always wanted to have some military around, especially for Eisenhower, because he was Army General. So they sent us over just for show, nothing more. I know we weren't going to do anything because they had a Secret Service there. Another thing about that Secret Service, I tell you, antidote. Well, one time, just Eisenhower came, he didn't have any big wheels with him. So when he came out, he was going to his car, and the car was parked from me to you. And all of a sudden, this woman starts yelling, "Oh, the president." And she jumped inside. The window was still open. She wanted to shake his hand. The Secret Service, myself, and the other MP, we started drawing our weapons. But the Secret Service grabbed her and dragged her into their car.
Oh, goodness.
And all she was she just wanted to shake the president's hand.
There's ways to do that and ways not to.
And I said to myself, nobody's safe. If they can do it that quick. And then a woman got both hands in there trying to grab him. Nobody's safe.
You also, we have very limited time left. We have, you were in Germany when the Berlin Wall was erected.
Yes,
I wish you would tell us a little bit about that experience.
I got to tell you a quick story on that. We went from Hanover, part of the American sector, into Berlin. Now, everybody had to be counted. Every truck, every Jeep, everything had to be counted before we went in by the Russians.
Because this was, what year was this in the?
It's 1961.
Okay.
Well, we were stationed in Mannheim at the time, and we got an alert that we were going to Berlin to reinforce the 6th Infantry barracks. So anyway, going through there, Berlin, we had the ammunition was given out to the NCOs, which was on the back of the truck, which was me. And I was told not to issue any ammunition out till I got the word from an officer, which I sat there with the ammunition under me. It was all rifle ammunition. So anyway, oh yeah, there's another thing they gave us too. We weren't allowed to stop anywhere on the Autobahn going into Berlin. We're even issued piss bags. We had to take a leak, piss into the bag. And they didn't throw it out either. Just put it on the seat so they could be accounted for. That was the Russian idea. So we finally get into the outskirts of Berlin, going into Berlin proper. We all had to get out and be counted again. Every Jeep, every person, every piss bag. So anyway, they couldn't find one guy. So they wouldn't let us into Berlin till they accounted for him. They finally found him. We had trailers on the back of the deuce and a half to hold our bags and stuff, you know, big trailers. And we finally found him, and one of the guys was asleep in the trailer. How he got in there, nobody knows.
But now you were there because the Berlin Wall was being erected.
Yeah, Berlin Wall was being erected, and they wanted to reinforce the garrison, which would have been cannoned for if they started something. But they gave us alert areas to go to, and my sector was right down. It was right straight.
So you watched the wall being built.
Yeah. Streetcar track.
Yeah.
We were right on it. We had machine guns on this great long street. And then we were told, the NCOs were told to go into every restaurant, every bar, everything that anybody that had a phone except the people. It had to be a public phone. And get the number in case our communications broke down.
Wow.
They'd have we could go to them and call. We give them the number and everything.
Wow, that was a tense time.
Yeah, it was. And they to alert us wherever we were, they had an air raid sign. If you heard that air raid sign, you either get back to your barracks or you go to your alert place. They'd everything would be ready.
Wow.
We had it once just to try it out, but we never had it again.
Wow.
And there was this one guy. This one guy was trying to get back to West Berlin, and there was just a barbed wire there at the time. And they hadn't built the wall itself, and he got stuck in the barbed wire, and so they were called the provost, which was the East German police. They had their weapons out. They were going to either shoot a guy or pull him back in. Nobody knew what. But this one guy, American soldier, a medic, he went up to the wire and helped pull him out into the west. And his hand was all cut up and everything, both of them. But they didn't want him to go either.
Wow.
I don't know if they would have shot him or what.
Goodness.
But they had their rifle ready, pointing at him.
A very tense time.
Very tense.
Wow.
Very scary place. We had tanks on their border. They had tanks looking right down the barrels of our tanks. But it was an experience. Then we went there. We stayed there for 3 months, and they rotated another unit in there. Took our place.
And in your retirement, you visited the Vietnam Memorial.
Couple of times.
Tell us a little bit about, I think you went and made sure you went to find some of your colleagues.
Yes, I did. One especially. I missed them all, you know. But this one, he came from Cambridge, Mass. This young guy, I don't think he was 22. But we were buddies because I was from in the Boston area, and he was from Cambridge. So I had this radio, what do you call it, small radio.
A ham radio?
No,
Or, okay.
a regular radio.
Mm-hmm.
You could listen to the news and all that stuff.
Okay.
So I remember him and me were sitting, it was a nice day in Vietnam, but we could get Armed Forces Network radio, and they broadcasting the Celtic and Los Angeles Lakers at the time. It could have been the Lakers, but it was from Los Angeles. And we're both sitting up there, both Celtic fans. And the game was tied, and it kept going along and tied, going along. Finally, the Celtics won. And we were just like kids being in Boston. That was the guy I really missed.
Mm-hmm.
He was like 22.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, we are out of time,
He was one
John.
of the guys that got killed during that explosion with the helicopter.
You know, we are out of time, and we've been speaking today with John Bell, veteran of the U.S. Army. And we thank you for joining us, and thanks to ABMI for their support of this Veterans Oral History Project. Copies of this interview will be sent to the Library of Congress to become part of the permanent record there. Anyone interested in being interviewed, a veteran being interviewed, please contact Cable 8. And we really appreciate your time, your service, and sharing these stories. Thank you.
I just